anybody is having any sort of issues with the sound quality on their end. Today, I'm going to be doing something here so that my speech is fully protected and free. So, what am I doing to defeat any sort of what do you want to call it? Would you call it censorship, or would you call it demonetizing? I don't know. But whatever it is that YouTube does, that sort of ends up being this thing where you say certain things and they create sort of a ban on certain phrases or certain words, and then what happens is your video gets flagged. It gets flagged, and either you can't monetize it, or you got to edit parts, or all kinds of. You get harassed. Here's the other side of it. Let's say, like I knew something about someone, and they don't want that truth to come out, so they so want to stop the truth from coming out, which is detrimental to their future endeavors, that they would sue you for defamation, right? So if you were to say something about someone that has legal ramifications, like you could be later find yourself in court because this big powerful entity wants to bring you there. If you say whatever you want freely, be aware that if you just speak ever so slightly in the wrong way, they'll be able to pin that defamation on you. Like, let's say they have a situation where you were harassed and they asked you questions about it, and the reason they asked the questions they did, it was to try to create a frame the story in a certain way, so that later when you go to the defamation lawsuit, all of a sudden they're saying, no, we talked to this person and that person and they said you said this. Well, no, that's not what I meant when I said that to them. Well, I mean, you see how it appears, and you end up losing a defamation lawsuit, even though all you're doing is talking the truth. You never lied. And to defame somebody, you'd have to knowingly lie about them. But they kind of make it framed out like you kind of knew better or something. Let's just get to the point. To get to the point, the point is, if I'm playing music, this is the lyrics to a song. Everything I've told you so far were lyrics to this song I'm singing right now. So, all that part I spoke before was spoken word, and artistic expression cannot be taken to court for defamation. So I could talk anything. I could say, David Silverstein, I know he's behind 9/11, and they won't be able to make me take it down, because playing music in the background makes it part of the song, and now it's artistic expression. You cannot control somebody's artistic expression. You cannot. It's just not possible. Not even YouTube does it. There are songs about all kinds of things. Like all those songs by that rapper Necro, those are all real popular. Why? Because the guy's allowed to say whatever he wants in artistic expression. So you got a lawsuit level story you want to tell. You put a little music behind it, and now it's artistic expression. You can tell the story you want to unabashedly and without fear of retribution. That's how you do it. You tell the story too. So, I don't even have to sing it like that. But I'm doing that for the fun of it. So, what do I want to talk about today? I don't want to talk about anything that requires me to play the bass or the guitar. what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of play just some random stuff while I talk about what's the difference between America in the year 2000 versus these days. What's going on these days? These days we got, what do we got? We got a Charlie Kirk death. You know, that's the kind of stuff we had in the 60s, late 60s, and it led up to that whole hippie era. And a lot of people, you don't realize this, during the hippie era, were polar opposites of hippies. It's kind of like a conservative thing versus hippie thing. So, in the late 60s and 70s, really culture of America started to form. In the 90s, there was a PC era. Kind of like a lighter version of what we've been having in the 2017 to 2022 era. Our pandemic was, in the 2000s, was 9/11. 9/11 happened, and 9/11 did not scare us. It ignited us, and it pissed us off. We were like, absolutely not. Nobody does that on our land. And we went right after whoever. We didn't give a fuck. Go fucking bomb all of the Middle East. Fucking Iran, Iraq. We didn't give a shit. Just send it. Russia want help? Oh yeah, we're friends now. Attack them. So it gave us kind of an ideologic thing. And what was going on in culture? Was there an assassination? No, there was no assassination. In fact, there was Lance Armstrong and the yellow wristband for cancer. Lance Armstrong was a pretty good racer in the Tour de France. And then he lost one of his nuts to cancer, came back skinnier, refined, and dedicated, and with the attitude. And it made everybody feel like cancer gives you powers. And it was a positive thing. And fighting cancer, just like we fight the Middle East. And fuck you, cancer, we're going to figure you out and there's going to be a cure. And the idea was really positive. And everything was really, based on a real positive vibe. The TV show of the time was the sarcastic and snide Seinfeld, not the depressed and world-hating Curb Your Enthusiasm, but the more light and goofy Kramer versus the actual comedian Seinfeld, who's a kind of a retrospect of life. So that was the most popular show. And then Friends, and it was different back then. When movies came out, it was like there was 5 movies. Which one did you see? You looked at the list, you couldn't freaking decide which one you were going to. And hey everybody for joining the chat and joining the view. What's going on? I'm just talking about what's the difference between the early 2000s and 2025. Well, in 2025, we don't have a Lance Armstrong. We got like that guy, the Liver King, and we got like Joe Rogan's, and we got Charlie Kirk being assassinated. That takes us back to like MLK days. Now we're back in the late 60s, and division is becoming part of our culture again. But it's not divided. It's about the old divide. So there was a time when we were so divided that they had to take white kids and bring them to the black neighborhoods, and black kids and bring them to the white neighborhoods, and integrate the schools and force integration. And that didn't make black families live in the white neighborhoods. That was also a slow process. But what the thought was, if they have the same education and they start to mingle, it will be good for them. And it never was good for anybody. It actually broke both cultures down. And not in a bad way. It's like, hey, it's kind of a blending's fine, but forcing it, making it unnatural, was created chaos, and things got worse. So I can talk about anything. I got music as a shield. It lets me say whatever I want, and if I want to, I could just go, one note at a time, and just kind of get higher up in the notes, and just kind of talk about things and not really think about what I'm playing. And that's the point. Is I can tell you guys that the world back then was a different place. Back then, you could walk the streets not thinking anything. You could take your shirt off, you could walk around nonchalant, and the world was a different place. And you could walk around free and unabashedly. And, here's another thing that's different is when I was a kid, there wasn't even leash laws yet. There wasn't pick up your dog's poop laws. And those came about in the 90s. And think about what happens when people don't pick up the poop. People don't realize you got 24 hours to do it. That's actually the law in most areas. 24 hours, and in your own home you have usually 72 hours, which is fucking 3 days. And soberly they can't go, oh, that's 3 days old. They don't. Then who do they fucking tag your poop on your property? So it makes it impossible to really monitor. The real law itself is built so that we, A, don't just do it ourselves, and B, monitor each other, say shit to each other. Those kinds of laws that do that they can't enforce, they don't need to enforce, they wouldn't enforce, they don't care about, they don't see, but then we have to enforce, that creates derision and division. That is not okay for America. That's the difference between the America I grew up in and the America we have now, is that the things you used to turn people in for were like what they don't want you doing now. ICE. You would turn a guy in because you found out he's in the country illegally. He was only supposed to be here 3 years ago, and that was 7 years ago. He's been here 10 years on a 3-year visa or something. And he's working a job, and he's your biggest competitor. You turn him in. Fucking go bye-bye. And that whole business closed down, and half the jobs in your city open up, and then you land a third of them. And some other guy opens up shop, and another guy opens up shop, and they start good. They start strong. And they both grow, and you grow. As the city grows, you grow, and your companies grow. But you got rid of the foreigner who was stealing your business, who'd had it for the last 8 years. That is the stuff we're supposed to do. I saw ICE block of. I was a little bit upset when I couldn't take my right, and everyone was stopping and waiting because a police car, motorcycle, one of the 5 with this rotund caravan of cars, public vehicles with lights, unmarked, were being caravanned by these motorcycle cops. So the motorcycle cops are all blocking off the intersection. I'm like, oh, fuck this. But then when I realized they got a bunch of foreigners in vans, and ICE just nailed some company with a bunch of illegal workers, I was like, yeah. And I looked at the guy who was working for the school district next to me, and I was like, yeah. And he's laughing. I'm like, ICE, baby. He's like, yeah. It's cool. We like seeing it. This is our country. We like seeing it. It's like, it tells you there's going to be jobs on Indeed, and you're going to go to the job market, and they're going to tell you there's a bunch of jobs. Go down here. That's something ICE should be doing. Just letting you know. But would you want to work for a company that used to hire illegals? No. No. Close it down. Start a new one. No. I say, do I want to work for a company that in 2020 required masks? No, I will not. Will I work for a company that in 2022 and 2023 required vaccines? No, I will not. No, I will will not. Never. I will never work for a company that required vaccines. Absolutely not. Never. And I will never work for a company that required masks on your face. Those are people who cooperate in things like Nazi regimes. Those are people without the ability to look in, see that they're doing something wrong, and say, I will not. They have lost their soul. If you can't say, oh, I recognize when I'm doing wrong inside, my mind and my heart knows it and feels it, and I know this is wrong. And then you continue. You've disconnected from your soul. You actually probably aren't even hearing much of that. There's probably much louder when you're actually listening. Much louder, and maybe you would be listening if you hadn't stopped. But once you begin the process of I'm not listening to that, it's a down. Whew, it's like rolling downhill. All of a sudden you're on the bottom, and it's dark. All you'll do is cave. You got no chutzpah left. You got no connection. Your soul is what connects you to God. It connects you to up high. It's like a tether. And it's that one last piece that's connected to the highest. And it's in you. And if you disconnect from it, you're just an earthly. You're like a zombie. You're like a zombie like in those movies. Imagine right now if you could see with a radar gun or a pair of goggles how connected to the soul someone was. And if they're not connected to the soul, there's no aura. And when they're connected to the soul and they're listening to right and wrong inside and always doing right, you could see it. If you could just look and see it, then people would act so different. What if they just believed that God can see it? Then people would act so different. I think that if you could see that world that way, you'd see that most people are very dim and not connected. It's even the people who are living pretty well, they don't want to connect to it because it would make them spirited or envisioned or even enraged about certain things they see or experience in the world. It would give them too much purpose. They wouldn't be able to just sit down, relax, and play that game, or sit down and relax and fall asleep for a little nap. They'd be too motivated to go on forth. Now, let's talk about what motivates us. Yeah, this is live. What motivates us in this world is big. Is it money? Is the thing you're looking for money? Is it the only thing that gets you feeling good? Is it sex coming out your penis? Then you're good. Is it riches, gold, or sex? Is it achievement, beating the opponent, winning like Charlie Sheen, or winning like Charlie Sheen? Is it having fun? Is it feeling good? What is it? For me, I like to feel like I'm making a mission for God. Like I'm doing a mission for God. So I'm doing the thing that's hard, and I'm doing the thing that's right. I don't really care. That's what it's like. In my mind, for me, I want to see how many people will do the right thing. I don't like to confront, but I have to. So, that world of before, it was different, and it didn't always come to a division between people. It came to, well, here's two things about it. There's a lot of chatter out there, and not everybody feels like there's a lot to talk about in common. It used to be everybody read the same papers, read the news, not as many varying opinions, one or two, three varying opinions. You know, the guy that read the progressive paper, the guy that listened to NPR had a little different view than the guy that read the Post in the morning, which with more developments versus the guy that read the Times the evening before. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there would be like a paper that came out at like 6 o'clock at night that had most of the stuff in the day. But then at 8 o'clock at night, further developments in a crime, they catch the guy, right? Happen. And then you might hear about it in the news, but if you don't, in the morning, because maybe you're asleep by 11, in the morning, when you get your paper, you're having cereal, taking a crap or whatever, you're looking at your paper, not your phone, because you don't have a phone to look at with all your news. So you've got your paper, you're opening the paper on the fucking toilet, and you're reading the news, and maybe you're putting it on the ground and reading, I don't know what your mode is, but you're reading the shit on the shitter. And you're taking in, oh, they caught that guy. Fuck yeah. Oh, look, there's a picture of the guy, that mugshot and shit. And it's in the paper, and they print it up, and the next day they do the same thing. They do the nighttime one, the Times, and they do the Post-Intelligencer in the morning. And things like that. There's a lot of different newspapers that come out at different times of the day. So, my point is that you used to get your news that way. And you had 1, 2, 3, 4 different opinions, and you kind of 4 different opinions with the general like same vibe. And you talk about it at the water cooler, and you chitty chat, like, oh, I heard this, ooh, and it's not that big. It's like, no, his glasses were like this. Oh no, not like this. Oh, I thought they were like this, but no, they're like this. Oh, okay, who cares? And they settled the dispute. The nuances and the differences were real little, or they were just developments. So it wasn't much of a, oh, I didn't hear that yet. Well, I got the Post-Intelligencer this morning. Oh yeah, check it out right here. Oh, Bob Raker wrote about it. He's usually right. I trust his opinion or whatever and stuff like that. Now it's like, just for the Charlie Kirk shooting, you got like 10 different guys making sniper videos that are ex-snipers, making videos on the realisticness of the shot, the alternate theories. Then you got like major YouTubers like Knowles and Candace Owens, and they're talking about all the different opinions on that opinion and that opinion and that opinion, cherry picking. Oh, I knew him, and oh yeah, and what are they doing here? And the gossip is like unreal, and that's what you're hearing on the interwebs. And then if you want the news, well, that's not the whole story. So the media seems bought and sold because they're in this habit of creating this like general opinion that everyone can chew on. And yeah, so that's one of the differences, is that we ingested our news slower. You would hear about something like Charlie Kirk, but you wouldn't see it. And then maybe years later you'd see a video like in a documentary online or on TV. I mean, and you'd be like, oh, what? Did you see that on HBO? No, I don't even have HBO. Oh, and they showed the tapes. And then 10 years later, on those same tapes are on TBS or Q13 or something, on like a TV show. And like kids see it like it's normal to get shot in the back of the head. And then, like my generation. And then now, my generation's kids are going out and killing people in the streets. Not like, oh, I've killed a bunch of animals, I've desensitized myself to this. They've probably, some of them have never even hunted in their life. And the first animal they ever kill is a person. And afterwards, do they look like, why did I do that? Even like they would if they shot a bear. Oh, I don't like hunting. Oh, I didn't realize it till I killed that beautiful animal. No, they don't. None of these shooters react like that. They look like this afterwards. Yeah, got it. Crazy fuckers. They look like this afterwards. Just dead inside. I can't even do it. Because I look like I could see the life. They just look crazy dead inside. I don't care. I don't worry in the world. Two things. We all know MK Ultra is real, so what is it? Is it some kind of refined version? Can they program us from our phones? That's something I've been wondering for a while. I'm pretty sure they figured out how to read thoughts using these interfaces. LiDAR. And shit like that on the phones. Sensors, like crazy sensors in the phones, reaching into our brains. When we are thinking of a certain app and then we swipe up, it's the next app that comes up. I was thinking about buying some socks on eBay. I hadn't been on there in a month. Let me check. Swipe up, eBay sitting right there in my apps. It wasn't earlier today. I didn't say anything about eBay. I just thought something, and there it goes. Oh yeah. Now, is it much more subtle? Were they doing it the whole time? Is it much more subtle? Now that they have a device for each person and they can just kind of lightly tune it to each person, they don't notice it as much. Remember the Truman Show? Truman Show, movie about a guy who's being watched on camera at every angle at all times. It feels like now it's more true, but maybe it's been true the whole time. Not for me, but for you. You're the star of the Truman Show. You're the star. You're the star. That's what I think's going on. Is that you, meaning all of us, are the star of a Truman Show. So when I play my guitar, it protects me from defamation lawsuits because I'm in artistic expression. The things I said are just lyrics, and they're protected. So if I wanted to, I could talk to you about people that would sue me. If I told you this, and I know that, because they've already told me that they would too. I used to work for a company called Digital Control Incorporated. There was no instructions. There was maybe 100 to 150 different iterations of the 3 different models or 5 different models or 8 different models we repaired or whatever it was. There was hundreds of iterations, and every iteration required a different set of repairs, and none of that cross documentation of which to match who, how to, what you do existed. The generic these are the 5 units and these are the main 5 ways to do it existed. They had us write them after I was hired. So I came into this job, there was no working theories. The line was swamped. They needed help, but they needed help because they couldn't just do the work. The 90% of the repairs were over $1,000 at least. And they could only automatically repair $750 worth of stuff. So that created like a really big customer service department that had to go look at all these things, call everybody, and then go, oh yeah, it's going to be this to be repaired. And then they go, oh, I don't know about that. Why do we got to do this? Oh, why do we got to do that? Why do we got to do that? Oh, that doesn't seem like it's right. It was just underwater. Oh, we got to repair everything. Oh, $16,000 to repair this $60,000 item. I don't know about that. That's a lot of money. I don't want to do it. Maybe we could just buy a new one. Well, a new one, $60,000. Well, we're going to go to a different company. Well, good luck with the inferior product from them. They're going to be having even more issues. Sometimes they do, and then they come back later wanting our product. Oh, I thought I turned it into them. Can I trade it into you? No, we need the product traded in. Oh, I can't even repair my old product anymore. Ooh, they got to buy a whole new $60,000 product again, or $20,000 product again. And boom, 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 boom. So, the place I worked was very chaotic, and I got a story to tell about it. Because there was this period of time where I was being harassed by a couple of people that worked there. And instead of bringing me in and having them apologize and, oh yeah, that's what we did, and then a minute again, they said, oh yeah, we punished him. How? You wrote him up? They don't care. They don't care about that. They didn't change. They didn't modify. They acted the same. So everybody was weird there. Everybody was weird. The guy that trained me was not the brightest of the bulbs, but he didn't care. He wasn't trying to learn anything more. He was just trying to work there for 10 more years and then be done in life. I retired. His ex used to work there, or his wife used to work there, was an ex-employee of there. And, it was just a difficult place because they had me opening the boxes for half the day or more sometimes. And I didn't know I needed glasses. And I was missing numbers and messing up numbers. Like a 98 percentile, but they were just like, we can't have any mess ups. So I had to be at like a 99.99% perfectionist, right? By number. So I decided to check out if I need glasses. I got glasses, and for the month and a half after that, almost no mistakes, like 3 mistakes instead of like an average of like 6 a month. It was like 3 mistakes in a month and a half. So that was greatly reduced and pretty much fixed, but they were trying to get me to do even more repairs, but it was never gonna be able to be that many repairs. Nobody else had ever done that many repairs in my position, but they had this expectation that I should be able to, or I wasn't worth my value. And I was like, I can't. And those expectations went up and up and up once I was harassed, and I reported the harassment. The people that harassed me had worked there for 14 and 25 years, or 14 and 21 years. And they're not the best people. They're not nice. They had a definite reason that they were trying to fight with me. They didn't like elements of my personality. They didn't like that I was a Trumper or whatever. They were like, oh, he's a Trumper, which meant I was open-minded to anything at that time. It was the Biden era. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know if Trump was going to run again or any of that. I was just myself. I didn't share politics there, but I definitely sometimes would talk about politics, and it's not like they could stop me. But they did try to tell me what I could talk about at work. There's a lot of things they did that, these are interesting lyrics, huh? That they just did that were wrong. And the worst part of it is that when they started to ask me to have these high expectations that I couldn't do, I said, look, I'm ADD. There's got to be, I'm ADD and dyslexia, and I have been diagnosed since I was a kid. And they wanted me to get a re-diagnosis and a doctor to write the exceptions. They didn't want to know what I wanted for exceptions. They wanted my exceptions that I would need to come from a doctor. Well, I did have stuff from when I was a kid, and I didn't ever bring it to them, but I probably should have, because all the things that I was going to need were right in that. But I had an appointment, and the day after I was fired was my appointment to go in and be able to get my accommodations note. But on that morning, I was having a tough time. I forgot my glasses. I was getting a headache. I wasn't able to see very good. The headaches I was getting cued me to go get my glasses, even more than the mistakes. I was trying to figure out the mistakes like it was something else. And gosh, it feels good to have these glasses and see again. But I had my glasses off. I was getting a headache. My wife brought them to me, but I was still quite irritated in that morning. And the HR ladies and the girl in the department in shipping and the girl in billing were all hanging out in the corner near our area and just chitty chatting about their daily life, not work stuff. And it was quite annoying and distracting. And I went over and I was like, look, I wish you guys didn't chat over there. It's very distracting. It sounds like a pterodactyl's attacking a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And next thing you know, I'm fired. They didn't want to hear my accommodations. They didn't want anything like that. Pretty cool song lyrics, huh? All right, well, that's a story. I could tell it a million times, and I will in greater detail. But that's a story of how I was fired from Digital Control Incorporated wrongfully. And I had been asking for accommodations, and they refused. They said that they would only accept accommodations from a doctor. So that's what that is. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed that crazy song and that storytelling. I had to do it. It's kind of a form of therapy. I'll have more coming out later.